This show is sponsored by Mighty Capital, the go-to venture capital firm for product-first companies like Airbnb and Amplitude. Learn why they are dubbed the best value for the dollar invested at mighty.capital. I'm SC Moadi, founder and chair of Products That Count, a 501c3 nonprofit engaging over 500,000 product managers. Our mission is simple: help you build great products through groundbreaking research, prestigious awards, and top-notch programming like this award-winning Top 1% podcast. Whether you're aiming to boost your career or turn your product team into a competitive advantage, this is your gateway. Visit productsthatcount.org and begin your product leadership journey. This particular series is hosted by one of the first chief product officers in the world, Renee Niemi, and each episode is a masterclass in product leadership. Renee, over to you.
Hello, today I have with me David Wong. He is the Chief Product Officer of Thomson Reuters. David, so glad to finally meet you. And I want to just start by saying congratulations for being one of our finalists in our CPO awards this year.
Well, thank you for having me, Renee. I'm honored to be selected, and I'm really eager to share some perspectives on what we're doing here at Thomson Reuters.
Yeah, well, I'm super excited to learn more about not just Thomson Reuters, but also your journey and your secret sauce. I can't wait. Before we dive in, would love if you wouldn't mind 60 seconds or less. Give me a little intro to yourself and what you do and the products at Thomson Reuters.
Sounds great. So, yes, I am the Chief Product Officer here at Thomson Reuters. For those that don't know, Thomson Reuters is a large business information services company. We're famously known for the Reuters news agency. Sadly, I own all the products and services that Thomson Reuters produces except for Reuters News. But that being said, Reuters News is actually only 10% of our business. 90% of our business is software and data that we sell to lawyers, accountants, risk professionals, and other professionals that need specialized data. And so we have products like Westlaw and Practical Law and some tax preparation software, which is used by accountants across the world. As part of my role, I lead product management, design, product analytics, as well as our product experts and content and editorial teams. So those are the people that actually write the content for our products or that interpret the law. And before Thomson Reuters, I was most recently at Facebook, where I was part of the ads and business platform team. Before that, I was at Nielsen, and I started my career in consulting after being an engineer in training. So I studied engineering, but decided not to go into engineering. I became a business person instead. And so naturally, what happens after time, you end up going to product, right? You still want to do business and product and engineering together. You go into product. So that's sort of my path of the past few years.
Yeah, I love that. Wow, what a really wonderful career you've had. Congratulations. And I'm really excited to learn how you're pulling all of that together here at Thomson Reuters. So, actually, let's go ahead and get started. It's been kind of an interesting journey over the last couple of years. Obviously, we were in a pandemic, and we all of the product leaders kind of scrambled to make sure that the products were accessible and our tools were accessible to lead teams through that pandemic. And then we went right from that into uncertain economic times. I don't know how that affected you guys, but I know a lot of businesses had a bit of a slowdown and had to kind of hunker down. But now we've transitioned into, I'm calling it the AI revolution, but this is just like such exciting times. I can't wait. And later we'll dive a little more into the AI stuff with you, but especially given your role in data and content, I'll bet you that has a big impact on you. So with all of this change, I guess I would just love to understand, how you spend your time.
Yeah, it's a great question. And maybe a little bit of history then, because I've been at Thomson Reuters for about 4 years. And in the first 2 years, we were right in the middle of the pandemic. And Thomson Reuters had a new CEO, a new leadership team, and we were going through business transformation. And
what a change, right?
Right? Like trying to do that totally remotely during a pandemic. And the long history for Thomson Reuters is as a publisher. And we were making a transition to become a technology company which is powered by the content that we have. And in those first couple of years, it was just about trying to set the foundation, getting our software into the cloud, getting rid of a bunch of technical debt, rethinking the way that we organize our teams. And the last 2 years has been all about executing based off that foundation and taking advantage of the AI transformation. And not a lot of companies, not a lot of companies are as well positioned, I think, as Thomson Reuters to deliver on this AI opportunity for a couple of reasons. The first is that we serve the legal industry as one of our biggest customer segments, but half our business is to lawyers and to the legal industry. And Goldman Sachs famously put out an economic study which said that the legal industry was the second only after administrative professionals to be disrupted by generative AI. So it was like, wow, there's this huge opportunity to change the way that lawyers work. And the second reason is that almost all the AI research done to this moment has said that companies that have access to unique data and unique knowledge are well positioned to take advantage of this generative AI transformation. And that's
Yeah.
what Thomson Reuters has.
Yeah, data is gold in this revolution, right?
It's a really long way of answering your question, which is, what am I spending my time on now? Helping to develop generative AI products to serve our customers, lawyers, accountants, tax professionals, taking advantage of our content and our data and some of our existing assets. So it is probably the most exciting time that I've had in my career. And it's been one of the most disruptive times for our business, sort of end to end.
Yeah, that's well, that doesn't surprise me. How do you trade off like that longer picture strategic opportunity with the tactics of, keeping the tires on to the trucks that are already rolling down the highway, so to speak?
Yeah, that's been sort of the perennial kind of prioritization challenge we've had. And part of it is that we all recognize you need to have a strong foundation to be able to build from. So I'm a big proponent of sort of systems thinking in developing products, that you need to have systems that have virtuous cycles that enable growth. And if you have anything in your foundation which is blocking you from being able to have that virtuous cycle, then you have to address it. So a lot of folks talk about, technical debt and cybersecurity and things like that. I see those as all being systematic enablers, but also blockers that you need to address before you can get to growth. And so that's one aspect of it. The other aspect is, we got lucky actually at Thomson Reuters, where those first 2 years of business transformation before GPT-4 hit the market happened to take care of a lot of that. And so we just happened to be well prepared. And so it's allowed us to be able to allocate more of our time and resources towards building the new.
Yeah. Wow. I bet it's a challenge constantly, like weighing everything off. Since you kind of teed up the AI topic, why don't we just dive right into it? Obviously, you guys have a massive data gold mine. Why don't you share with us like what's been the biggest impact to date, and then where you see it going specifically for your current role in Thomson Reuters?
Yeah. So at Thomson Reuters, there's the product side. So I'll focus there, but there's also the internal operations. On the product side, we have a lot of products at Thomson Reuters. We have almost 150 products, but they generally boil down into serving two jobs for our customers. They either help with an information retrieval problem, so helping to figure out something really nuanced, something very specific, like answering what is the set of cases that support this very specific legal argument. Or the products help with producing some kind of written work product. So products that help you to draft a contract or to complete a tax return or to file a regulatory filing. And Gen AI happens to be good at both those things. The technology is great at information retrieval and creating written work product. And so we are looking to apply it, frankly, across the portfolio. What we've seen generally is that the technology can help you either do certain tasks more efficiently, or they can help to improve quality of output. Most of the high impact use cases have been around efficiency up to this time. For example, using Gen AI to help with legal research, we found that you can get a huge head start, that it can save you hours for really hard legal research issues, just to be able to get a handle on the laws, the cases, etc. It does not in any way replace the need for complete, thorough legal research, but complete, thorough legal research can sometimes take 18, 20, 24 hours of work. And the tools that we've developed can help to chop out hours of that time to be able to get a handle on what is relevant and to be able to get to answers on particular dimensions or areas of inquiry within a particular question. It also helps in the practical space where you just need an answer to be able to move forward and take an action. So getting to an answer faster with greater confidence, that's the name of the game with a lot of legal issues, because particularly for like a general counsel, you just need to give good advice to your leadership team, and you need to get your hands on the content faster and with great confidence.
Yeah, when I sit and I think about your world, and I don't know, maybe lawyers just think in legalese, but but I know that I often will take a legal contract now and I'll use like a generative AI, plain English. What is this saying, right? And all of a sudden, it just like it hyper scales my ability to review agreements. So I can only imagine what it might be doing for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that we're starting to see as well, that the technology helps to make those that are non-lawyers proficient and get better advice and to work more effectively with their legal representation or with experts within their companies.
Yeah, amazing. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I want to poke at the efficiency thing.
Yeah.
Like, if you were to assign a percentage of efficiency, like since you've started using these tools, like what percentage of the time do you think you've saved?
Well, I mean, that's an interesting question. If I focus on our customers, so the users of our products, there's a pretty big range. So I think for that hard like legal research for products like Westlaw, I think you could be saving, as much as 50% of the time.
Wow,
It
that's
is
massive.
pretty dramatic. I mean, think about the comparison. When you ask for assistance for legal research in Westlaw, you ask your legal question in plain language, and it gives you a footnoted response in a few paragraphs to give you a sense of what the answer to that question is. Again, and it also will tell you, hey, I don't have information on this. Sorry, I couldn't find it in my databases. But that summarization and getting to all of those resources, the alternative is to just read the search results. And the search results, when you're doing legal research, are often cases which can be 10 pages long. And so you have to read that case, and you have to determine, is that case even relevant? And then to see what are the findings and to see if how it applies to the issue. That the amount of time saved is huge there.
Yeah, I
For
can't imagine.
for other tasks like drafting or document analysis, there can also be pretty big time savings. So the number of times lawyers have to look through a big pile of documents, right, trying to figure out, hey, which of these contracts have clauses which might be an issue for me, or what's the small change that has come through in a red line. That type of analysis can be done in dramatically less time. I think on the creative side, that's not where we're seeing less time savings there. I would argue that when you have to do something creative or something where you're drafting from scratch, there, the jury's still out. Our hypothesis is that we can help lawyers to be more creative, to do better problem solving. But I don't know if there's going to be as much time savings when you're trying to do something which is either writing something from scratch or trying to do something creative, like writing a brief or responding to an opinion. Those probably are more about the quality of output and the quality of outcome for clients of the lawyer.
Yeah, amazing. I'd love to get your thoughts on the topic of growth. Obviously, we care about growing our user base. I imagine engagement's got to be a big element for you. Walk me through how you think about growth, what tools and techniques you use to drive growth, and do you ever consider, acquisition to augment your growth?
Yeah, there's a lot in that question, I think. So, there's sort of the classic user growth, kind of approach, and I'm a student of the growth teams at Facebook when I was there, and so there's sort of the classic analysis of understanding, your first time user engagement, whether or not you have retention, taking a look and seeing whether you have again that sort of virtuous cycle where you have new users retaining and continue to use your products. So that is sort of a default set of analysis that we've implemented across our products at TR, which is growth accounting and being able to understand if we have signal for product market fit, right? Because no growth tactic works unless you have evidence of product market fit. So I think that's one. On the bigger question of just growth as it pertains to sort of what does development play as a role? So do you build? Do you buy? As you mentioned, do you look for inorganic approaches? I'm a pragmatist when it comes to that, where I think we have applied a build, buy, and partner strategy for thinking about growth of our products, where we will invest to be able to build new capabilities, new products, new features. We'll partner with companies, and we'll look to acquire. And my philosophy here is building should actually not be the default. That deciding to invest to build new features and to expand a product has got to be aligned with the product strategy you have and has to be something which you believe you can really win on. I think that you have to build when you believe that you can establish clear competitive advantage and that you believe that you can grow your product with those investments. If you can't, then you've got a question like, is it worth it to build? Is there a better way to do it? Partnership, I think, is more critical than ever these days because every company is good at something. And there is often a better way to partner with someone that is really great at doing something else. Just think about, like, in our business, we partner a ton with Microsoft because we're not going to build, email or word processors or things. They're great at that, right? Mm-hmm. And they're also becoming really great at AI, but they're not as great at legal AI, and they're not as great at legal drafting or at legal communications. And so there's a partnership opportunity there. And then inorganic, I think it makes a ton of sense when the conditions are right, especially when you can gain time, when you can pick up intellectual property and technology from those acquisitions, and also when you also gain knowledge via those acquisitions. I think that also are all factors that need to be taken into account. Again, especially if you're trying to expand into a new adjacency, I think acquisition often makes a ton of sense because you just can move faster versus trying to build something from scratch yourself.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. The speed of innovation is happening so fast, and I think what's really smart about how you think about it is that you can, by focusing on the things you're good at and partnering with the things you're not good at, you can continue to innovate, and then you tap the innovations of others, and that just accelerates your innovation. So I think that's really, really wise to think of it that way. I will tell you that I do meet, some product leaders who believe that owning it and building everything themselves is the right approach. And I've always been a fan of the partner and the acquisition mode when it makes sense. So I'd like to get to know you a little bit better. We all have our own journeys, and we bring skills with us along the way. And there's definitely a theme with all of our winners where, like, there's a superpower under there that's really accelerated your success. What do you think your secret sauce is? What's your CPO superpower?
Yeah. Well, I think one thing which has really served me well is I think my superpower is being able to zoom in and zoom out of issues and to maintain connection throughout that process. And what I mean by it is I pride myself in being able to connect issues that are at a small scale within our products or within our teams to the bigger issues and the bigger business that we're working on. And being able to tell the story of how the work that we're doing on one feature or one part of our platform might connect to the broader strategy that we're doing. And at first, it was sort of like, oh, this is something which I did sort of intellectually. But now, in this role as a CPO, it's really important because so many people come to me and ask the question of like, why are we doing this? What's the why behind what we're doing, and why is my work important? And now I've found that it's been a common thread in almost everything that I do. That so much of the time I'm being asked to give a view of our strategy and our vision, but at the heart, I'm really being asked, why does my work matter, and why does this work matter to our company or our customers, et cetera? And so that's what I'd share. It's that ability to kind of go in really small, and then to be able to go really big, and to be able to say, how does the story that we're telling relate to all like layers and that zoom in and zoom out.
I really resonate with your commentary on the why, and diving deep and then diving high, or soaring high, I should say, is truly a good skill. What's your why? Like, why do you do this?
Why do I do this? Well,
Yeah.
well, number one, I believe that products and technology ultimately help our economy, our people, the whole world to become uh, better, to progress, to be able to allow us to focus on the most important things in life. And so, I mean, that's at the end of it. I mean, I'm a technologist at heart, and I do believe that it's one of the only sources of like true sustainable sort of uh, change within the world is technological advancement. And so building products is the only way to really put that into the hands of people, right? So, the invention is the only way that we ultimately make life better for uh, customers, but also just more broadly the world. And within TR, if we can make the legal industry better, more efficient, I think there's huge positive outcomes. Uh, a better justice system, better access to justice, uh, better legal and law writing, actually, as a result. And so I think it ultimately creates a fairer and more just world if we can do this really effectively within even the narrow space of Thomson Reuters.
Yeah. It sounds to me like impact is really important to you. And by the way, that's pretty common for CPOs. I know it was true for me. If you can make the more people's lives you can make better through what you do, it just kind of fuels the energy. And I often said it's why I get up in the morning, right? Is to fuel that passion. So fantastic. So would love to learn more about your journey in a story, if we could. I'd love to hear. Obviously you've had a ton of success, or you wouldn't be where you are. But sometimes our learnings are when we didn't get it right, and I would love to just hear a story around where you didn't get it right, but it was a lifelong learning for you.
Yeah, I mean, uh, there are a ton of examples, right? Like,
Sadly for me too, by the way.
the adage is totally true that you can only know if you've succeeded if you've tried a lot and you've failed. So
It's true.
I don't know, one which really sticks to me is actually very early in my product journey, and I was at Nielsen. I was working on a product, and there was a really important partnership in that product development. So we had some very big customers that we worked with, and I thought that success in that job right? Junior product manager, kind of leading this product was doing what your customers asked of you, right? So it's all about like how do we make sure that the stakeholders are happy, and trade-offs were all about trying to like minimize the amount of pain or the amount of outrage or debate from the stakeholders that we had, and we kind of trundled along and managed the relationship, etc. But the product never seemed to go anywhere. It didn't grow, and the customer wasn't really using it, and there wasn't progress in their business, despite I think a pretty good relationship. And in retrospect, it should have been obvious that um, the lesson for me in that case was product leadership, product management is not always about just doing what your customers say. And in many cases, it's actually about helping to learn enough about their problem so that you can be the ones to say, hey, here's what we think the solution is, and here's what we think the answer is. And we didn't spend enough time to really understand that customer's problem and the market and the need deeply enough so that we could be the ones to lead the thinking. And we were just following, right? We weren't doing product leadership. We were just product following with our client. And it's stuck with me that it's stuck with me ever since that. Now I put dramatically more emphasis on really understanding the customer problem, make sure we do the user research to be able to understand the market and to get our hands dirty with the products and the problems in the space, so that we can be the ones to listen, but also to advise and to provide a viewpoint and to develop solutions which they wouldn't have thought of as part of it. And I think that that's what ultimately great product management, product management needs to be able to do.
Yeah, I really like that a lot. I'm also a big believer. I call it, the power of observation, but same idea where doing exactly what the customer tells you to do is often the wrong thing to do, and because they can only give you the context of what they know, and they don't know what's possible. So, and there's a lot of very famous thought leaders, including, by the way, Steve Jobs. It's just like, I never listen to my customers because they don't know what's possible, right? And I think he just underscored that.
And it's particularly hard, I think, in business to business, in B2B software and product development, because there's so much more of a connection commercially to what your customers say. I kind of have an adage now, which is I always say that the customer is never wrong. It's very different than saying the customer is always right, because you cannot deny how your customers feel and their observations, but they might not always be right. They might not always have the right answer, but you have to be able to listen and understand where they're coming from. And so they're never wrong as part of what they feel or what they observe.
I love that nuance. I think that is so important, because the minute you tell them they're wrong, they alienate you. So
exactly, right? And that's not the point. It's like
you want the conversation, right?
Yeah,
you want the conversation. That's amazing. I love it. So, well, that's kind of the perfect lead in to my next question, which is about customer. Talk to me about your relationship with your customers and how you use those to make your products better or not.
It might sound like that I'm always like, challenging and combative with my customers. I'm not.
It doesn't.
I do think there's an aspect that you want to do. You do want to challenge and be provocative to your customers, right? But you want to do so from a place where you show that you really understand. So
absolutely, it's that respect, right? And they're doing business with you so you can add value, and challenging and giving them alternative perspective is part of how you add value.
Yeah. So I would say I'm always learning from my customers. So it has always been the case when I come away from like a week of doing customer meetings, especially when I'm in another context. So, our customers are around the world. I always come away from a week of meetings with customers having learned something new and having new ideas about like, wait a minute, have we been approaching this problem the right way? Have we been thinking about the possibilities? Is there actually a new kernel of pain or of need, which is actually at the heart of the issue? And so I'm always learning from customers. I've already shared my view about, I always believe that customers are never wrong, but that I always take their advice and their suggestions under advisement to see if there's, a better way. And I would also say that, especially because I work in B2B, is that I want my customers to be successful. And so, once a customer is using our products and, is basically putting part of their business in our hands, it's in our mutual interest for them to be successful. And so I want to understand their business as much as I want to understand, the specific product problems they have. And they come to me and they ask, hey, I'm trying to do this to make my business successful. What can you do? And so I ultimately do want to make them successful in whatever they're doing to serve their needs, their clients, et cetera.
Yeah, that makes sense. How do you translate your relationship or your philosophy, if you will, with your customers to your team? Like, how do you lead your team as it relates to customer?
Yeah. I think one part is thinking about just the structure of how we build and making sure that the time with customer, both upfront when we're doing research as well as before we ship anything to test and to engage with customers, is just part of the process. And so I think we create a ton of opportunity to connect all throughout, the company. If anything, I would say that is that product managers and developers and designers that are sort of in the thick of things spend more time with customers by virtue of just the day to day. So that's one. The second is just making sure we have good internal communication and signal. So we have put a lot of effort into new documentation and just like information sharing whenever we're engaging with customers. So when I'm coming back from meetings, the same thing with our other leaders, as well as researchers and customer support, customer success, et cetera, make sure that all those signals are coming in. And we have a number of sort of knowledge management systems we put into place to consolidate all of that into a few different places. So that's also helped in a big way.
Yeah, that's really good. I talked to another CPO the other day who had a requirement that each product manager spend 25 hours with customers before they were allowed to manage their own product. How do you feel about that?
I feel like that I hope that naturally happens, because there has to be more than 25 hours of engagement before ultimately a product is shipped. But I love that idea.
I do too. I think it's a forcing function, and it becomes. I'm a big fan of rituals, right? Because rituals really set the tone and the culture. And I don't know if 25 hours is the right number, but it certainly kind of sets that tone. Anyways, well, listen, our time went super fast. So unfortunately, we're down to our last question. And I'm going to ask you, like I've asked all the CPOs this year. Obviously, this last year with generative AI has been really eye-opening. Depending on who you talk to, some people say it's going to eliminate the need for product management. I would just love your perspective on AI and the role of product management and how that's going to impact both short and long term.
Yeah. Oh, this is an interesting one. I think that product managers are going to be actually at the tail end of being impacted by some of the Gen AI tools, because it seems like that no one's building tools for us out there. Like there's a ton of design and engineering and sort of legal and tax tools out there, but I've been waiting for like, hey, where's mine?
I love that. By the way, they're building them. I think it's harder, actually.
It is hard. All joking aside, I think that if I sort of look at the tasks that product managers do, there's a huge opportunity to get rid of the painful parts of PM jobs, like the amount of time that is spent in helping to manage execution and keep things sort of on the rails and to manage communication. I think there's a huge opportunity there where meeting summarization, action items, things like that, which are part of like the day to day of all PM's lives, that has just gotten way, way less painful with some of the new tools out there. Summarizing information and synthesizing issues, getting a first draft of things, also very, very good. And I think that, the idea of like low fidelity prototyping, I think will become a whole lot more efficient because you'll be able to do it, frankly, just with plain English, voice direction, sketching, things like that. I think that will get a lot better as well. At the end of the day, product management is about trying to problem solve and to deduce, what are potential solutions and to be able to make prioritization. That kind of stuff is really hard. And so I don't see that being replaced by AI anytime soon. I just want us to spend more time focusing on that instead of the rote stuff as PMs. And so my hope is we just shift more time to do the fun and intellectually stimulating parts of the product job as the rote parts we get some AI assistance with.
Yeah, I mean, I, I I'm a big fan of big believer, I should say, that the product management is a combination of art and science. And I guess eventually the art piece could be replicated by some kind of AI. But I just believe that we are a long way from being able to simulate the intuition that a human can offer. And so, I mean, if we can use the AI tools to kind of speed up the non-value add tasks that we have to do and really focus on that part that cannot be replaced. By the way, every product manager I've ever led has said, I need more time to think. I need more time to do the customer interaction, to develop that intuition. And I'm pretty excited that this new AI will enable that to happen.
Yeah, 100%, right? Because that's exactly what I hear from all of my people, which is I spend too much time with the administration and not enough time with the thinking. And the tools that are out there will help to take away the administration.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm optimistic.
I am too. Well, with that, unfortunately, our time has come to an end. David, I have had so much fun getting to know you a little bit better. I love what you're doing at Thomson Reuters, and I really appreciate you spending time. Congratulations again for being a finalist. It's pretty clear why you are.
Thank you so much, Renee. It's been a lot of fun.
This is SC Moadi again, founder and chair of Products That Count. Thank you for listening to this episode. If you like what you heard, be sure to leave us a review on your favorite platform, including Spotify and Apple. And please check out our other resources at productsthatcount.org. They're designed to accelerate your product career and make product the most important function in business. Until soon.